here's the top 5 reasons, in my opinion, why you might be losing your lane in Deadlock. So the footage in the background is going to be one of my laning footage, and I'm not necessarily going to focus on it, but I just figured it would be nice to do some showcase. I've been playing Deadlock for about 3 months. I have almost 600 games played, and I've seen a lot of new players make similar mistakes. And so I just want to talk about the main 5 things that I think are losing players' lanes. So, number 1, you're not hitting creeps enough. So one thing that I see new players do all the time is they'll treat this game like it's Overwatch or like it's a sort of FPS, and they'll just kind of brawl with the enemies in the lane instead of hitting the creeps. So this game is a MOBA first, FPS second. Creeps are the most important thing in the lane, and you definitely want to be hitting them. So as you can see here in this lane, I'm really prioritizing like hitting creeps and being aggressive, and I'm only being aggressive when I have a reason to do so, right? So like let's say I have creep advantage of some sort. So that's the first reason. Another reason why hitting creeps is important is because when you're hitting creeps, you can be aggressive, you can rotate, it frees up opportunities for you to do things. If creeps are pushing into you, you have less opportunities to do things, you have less opportunities to be aggressive, you're usually the ones receiving the aggression. That's the first reason. Second reason is you're not paying attention to creep advantage. So despite what I said, sometimes the lane is going to get pushed into you. Sometimes the lane is going to push into them. That's just how the game works, right? Like they might have better wave clear. They might be able to push the wave more aggressively. And you need to pay attention to that. So what I mean by wave equilibrium is basically what it means, like whether the wave is pushing into you or against you. If the wave is pushing into you, so let's say that they have 3 or 4 creeps and you have 1 or 0 creeps, you need to be very careful and you need to not be aggressive. Creeps do a significant amount of damage in this game. If you're tanking the creeps, the fight's not going to go well for you. So pay attention to that. That's another reason I see newer players taking fights when they don't have creeps, when they're down creeps, and it's just not a good time for them. Reason number 3, you're not buying items for the lane. So I see a lot of people kind of unsure what to buy and who are just going to not buy the right items for the lane. So I think the best example of that is I see a lot of newer players who they'll get really hurt, right? And they're not going to buy healing right. Or they're not going to go back to base. You have to buy the items that are right for the lane. You can kind of follow a formula, but a lot of the time that's not really going to work. You're going to have to adapt a little bit. So as you can see here, I'm playing Lash. I'm taking quite a bit of damage, but Lash has good sustain with his whip. So I haven't really bought healing, and I've mostly bought items that allow me to kill. Right now, killing in lane is one of the best ways to get ahead. I mean, it makes sense, right? You kill your opponent, you get ahead. So usually the items that you want to buy, you want them to be for killing. So I kind of griefed here, but it's all good. Another thing. So we're at reason number 4 now. You aren't prioritizing denies. So denies are very important. You need to consider that every deny is a soul swing that's roughly 80 souls, because you're getting something like 37 souls when you deny at the beginning, and they're losing that 37 souls. So you're roughly talking about an 80 soul swing. So denies are incredibly important for net worth swing. Just to give you an idea, usually kills are going to be about a 400 soul swing, so you might get 200 or so souls. They'll be a little bit behind, but like denies, effectively if you deny an entire wave, that's as good as getting a kill in most situations, I would say. I guess one tip that I can give for denies is pay attention to the wave in general, right? Pay attention to what's happening to the other creeps. Pay attention to what creeps are hurt on your side, what creeps are about to die. Pay attention in general to what your opponent is shooting. So, yeah. And the last reason is you're not paying enough attention to rotation opportunities. So why are we pushing the lane in the first place? It's so we can do other things, right? And those other things can be a couple different things. You can pressure your opponent under tower, but you can also use that to rotate. So one way to win your lane is actually to go win another lane. If you guys are able to shove your lane all the time, you should go gank another lane. And generally speaking, I would recommend ganking solo lanes just because of how the soul sharing works in this game. I'll probably make another video about that, but just know that in lane, if you have 2 people in a lane, souls are shared equally. If you have 3 people, you get very, very diminishing returns. You definitely don't want 3 people in a lane early. So ganking solo lanes is the play 100%. So those are the 5 main things that I see with newer players in terms of mistakes. If you guys have any questions or you want to see more videos like this, I'll probably make a bit more tips and tricks. Feel free to let me know in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching.